Hello students, standard 7th. Now as we know that in January we are organizing a test which will be totally online, and all the chapters from the beginning, from first term and second term, will be there, and therefore our all chapters are finished, and therefore I am starting the revision from the beginning. In the physics, first chapter is chapter number 13, motion and time. So let's start the revision of this. I will discuss some topics, and related to that, questions are written on the board which you will get in PDF, and you will write down the answers. So listen carefully, and then you will understand whatever the queries are there, any confusion are there, then you will listen carefully. So most of your confusion will be finished. It will be solved. Chapter number 13 is motion and time. Now, in standard 6th, you already learned about the different type of motions. So, what is actually the motion? When can we say that any object is in motion or at steady, at rest? Is it steady? So when we watch the objects, and if they do not change their position with respect to time, they are said to be at rest. But with the time, with respect to time, if the object change its position, then we can say that it is in the motion. For example, if a book is lying on a table, then every time when you watch it, there will be no change in its position. It will not change the place. So you can say that it is at rest. But if you see an ant moving on the floor, it will not be on the same place. Every second you will see that it will change its position. The children playing on the ground, birds flying in the sky, etc., etc., etc. So here in this all examples, they are changing their place, changing the position with respect to time. So they are said to be in motion. Now we learn different type of motions. There is the along a straight line, which is known as a rectilinear motion. If it is in a circular path, we say it is circular motion. If it is like a to and fro, or that type of motion along a midpoint, then it is known as oscillatory motion. If the motion is repeating after the same interval of time, it is known as periodic motion. And if it is like a uneven motion, it is known as random motion. And you can have the examples of each type. For example, if you drop anything from the height and it is falling down, it is a rectilinear motion because it is in the straight path. Similarly, if the bike is going on a straight road, rectilinear or the straight line motion. The blades of the fan, the wheels of the vehicles are moving in circular path. The earth revolves around the sun. There is also circular motion. Pendulum, the swing, the seesaw in the garden, etc. have the oscillatory motion because it is to and fro or back and forth along a mean position. So it is an oscillatory motion. Similarly, periodic motion, like we know that earth moves around the sun in particular time. So it is periodic motion. The hands of clock, minute hand or hour hand, etc. They are moving in a particular time. So it is also a periodic motion. So we know about the different type of motions, and then now we know that sometimes we compare the motion. On the road also we see that some vehicles are moving faster, some are very slow. How will you decide that it is slow or fast? We can say that if the particular distance is given, then the object or the vehicle which will take least time is the faster, which will take the most time, highest turn, is very slow. Or if the particular distance is not given but time is given, then in particular time, then we will see that who will cover more distance in a particular time is faster, and who will cover less distance is slower. So we can, speed is actually the thing which is a subject object, how fast or slow, that we decide with the speed. So what is actually speed? Speed is the distance covered in an unit time. The distance covered in a unit time is called its speed. So the word speed we use for this. So from the speed we can understand which vehicle is faster, which is slower, by comparing them. So to find the speed of an object, we need two things. That is, how much distance is covered by that vehicle, and to cover that particular distance, how much time is taken. Because speed is the unit, speed is that the distance covered in a unit time. Unit time, it means either in 1 second or 1 minute or 1 hour, according to the time taken. So that is called the speed of the object. So what is speed? The distance covered by an object in a unit time is known as the speed of the object. We know that generally the speed is not same every time, because when we go in a crowded area, you can't run your vehicle at the same speed. Sometimes it is faster, sometimes slower, sometimes very, very slow. And if you are on a highway, there is less traffic, you can go with the high speed also. And therefore, generally, it is taken as average speed. So, as I told you, the speed is the distance covered in unit time. Now, the speed, the formula is speed is equal to, as I told you, total distance covered divided by total time taken. And then we find out the speed of that object. And the speed, the unit of the speed, the SI unit of the speed is meter per second. Because the basic unit of distance is meter, basic unit of time is second. So the basic unit of the speed is meter per second. And the other unit will be kilometer per hour, kilometer per minute, meter per minute, etc. are also there. So that is the thing we learn about it. Now explain uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So what is the meaning of uniform motion and non-uniform motion? Generally, in our daily life, you will get very, very less examples of uniform motion. Uniform motion means in same time of interval, same interval time, if the object is covering the same distance every time. For example, in first 5 minutes, if it is traveling 10 kilometer or 4 kilometer, another 5 minutes again 4 kilometer, another 5 minutes again 4 kilometer. So every 5 minutes time interval, it covering 4 kilometer exactly. Then we can say that its motion is a uniform motion. But every time it is not possible, because there can be somebody is crossing the road, an animal is in the way, the boys are playing or crossing the road, or due to some accident, there is traffic is very, very jammed, or there are bumps on the road. So in this situation, we can't run the vehicle at the same speed. So we cannot cover the same distance in the same equal interval of time. So that type of motion is known as non-uniform motion. So if an object covers same distance in the equal time interval, it is uniform motion. And if it covers different distance in the same interval of time, then it is known as non-uniform motion. Most of the motion we see that are non-uniform motion. because it cannot be along the same straight line and constant speed, because it should not change the position also, direction also. It should be in the straight line, and it is not possible. But all of them, most of them are, maybe for a little time it can be uniform motion, otherwise it is non-uniform motion. Then here we give some examples of the motions, and by thinking you have to write down the type of motion in each situation. Like soldiers in a march past, how they walk, you know most. I'm not going to give you answer, but just watch them how they go, either in the straight line or whatever. Second, bullock cart moving on a straight road. Hands of an athlete in a race, like that. Then pedal of a bicycle in a motion. Motion of the earth around the sun. Motion of a swing, Hitchcock. Motion of a pendulum in a clock. So you have to think about them and write down the type of motion against each examples. So here we are going to finish the session. You will write down those answers, and I hope all the queries will be solved after you watch the video. Thank you very much.